Hey up, folks, and welcome back to Cheer Up the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in on the last episode. This is episode 4. Thank you for obviously following our journey on social media. If you're not following our journey on social media, it's Cheer Up the podcast on Instagram, TikTok, also on YouTube if you're a visual and you want to see our gorgeous faces. But yeah, just thank you. We've covered some quite big topics in the last couple of episodes, but today we're going to be covering event producers in the UK, the standard of them, and also in Controversial Corner, we're going to be talking about bids, something that's taking the UK industry by storm, and in Small Talks, Big Impact, how we can help you be competition ready. That's if you're a parent or an athlete. We're going to do a quick intro just to see what Jane's been up to. What have you been up to?
Yeah, well, been busy. We've been busy with Tycoons, like getting ready, and obviously, like we're talking about, getting ready for the season and everything else. But other than that, yeah, I've had a wedding. So I've actually married somebody.
Love that.
Which was absolutely incredible. It's such a privilege I just love being a celebrant. I really, really do. So, and I'm also preparing, which is mad, because of our industry, because of how close we all get. When I first mentioned that I was going to be a celebrant, I'm actually preparing, and Alice from Gold Star, she's seen me in Bournemouth last year, and she was like, "Jane, are you becoming a celebrant?" She went, "Will you marry me?" You know, she just, "Will you marry me?" I was like, "Oh my God, are you kidding?" Of course, I am there. So yes, I am. That is just so nice that I'm actually marrying somebody from in our industry as well, which is great. So I've got that coming up. But yes, I have married somebody, and yes, I've been doing a few funerals as well.
Love that. Where there's life, there's also death. It's life. It's life, guys.
It is. Makes you appreciate life.
Yeah, it makes you do. Yeah, a lot. What have I been up to? Everything again, as always. Bits and bats. A couple of press nights here and there. Keeping my face in the media, in the public eye. May have some TV shows coming up. Can't speak. But it's all under hush hush. So we're going to keep that under wraps.
And I literally I'm obsessed, aren't I, with you? With it, get out of my ass.
Get out of my ass. I love a TikTok, honestly. Spaghetti carbonara.
We did the spaghetti carbonara.
Yes, I taught you how to do spaghetti carbonara.
You taught me how to do that.
I bet our parents thinking, does he cook spaghetti carbonara for Jane once a fortnight?
No.
No, I don't. It's a dance. I'll teach you.
It's a dance. We'll have to do that. Yeah. We'll have to do the spaghetti carbonara on the TikTok, and we'll get everybody doing it.
So let's get into it. It's competition season. It's on our doorstep. It's happening. It's all going off, as it always does. Do good English, stay in school, kids. Short talks, big impact. We're going to get into that in a minute, but let's just talk about quickly EPs in the UK. We've got so many. We're just going to name a few of them. We're probably going to miss quite a few out because there's that many, because there's new ones starting. There's the big ones that have been running for years that have got that core, they've got that report, and they've also got that clientele, and they're just smashing the industry, which we'll go into that in some more detail quickly. But I think,
because where it started, like FC, ICC, they probably started in really small.
I once saw a picture of ICC when they first did a Southerns, and it was literally a floor, a little banner, and a table of trophies at the back. That's all it was. And I was like, the scale that it is now, ICC, the production, a lot of comps now.
They used to wheel a speaker in as well. Do you know what I mean? The event producers, you was wheeling a speaker in, and oh my God,
singing at the side.
Yeah. And the ice comps, because with Kim, I remember when Kim was just setting up, and she was like, "Jane, I need some judges," and I was like, "Right, okay," because I used to judge with Kim way back in the day at UKCA.
Yeah.
So that's where we started, because I was the same as you. I used to work for the local council as a dance development officer, and from there my remit was to set up cheerleading within Tameside, and that's what we did. And we started off with a school competition, and we started with UKCA, as a lot of people did way back then. And then I went into judging for UKCA, which I'm still friends with people now, like Rachel Lynch. She was on like the panel there, and Kim, who now runs ICE as well. But I forgot what I was going to say.
She loves it, yeah. What was she going to say, Jane?
Oh, that was right. So when Kim phoned me when she first set up, honest to God, my menopause brain, it's terrible. So when she first set up ICE, she needed a judge.
Yeah.
And at the time, Vanessa was doing Team England, so it was down in Essex.
Yeah.
And the first one, it was down there. So she said, would you judge it? And there was like 2 teams. There was 2 teams. And like now, it's
massive. It's huge.
I mean, just the standard of where people have got to now.
It's massive. The
not
cheer
just
industry's growing.
the athletes and the clubs. Every year it just gets better and better and better, and everybody's raising the standards. But we mentioned UKCA. That's how we started. I'm not 100% familiar with the Scottish ones, but I know there's Scott Cheer where they give bids out as well. There is Cheer City.
Yeah.
Where
we're doing them next season, actually. This season we're doing them.
So we're talking about event producers that are like giving bids out, aren't we? Because we know that ICE give the World's All-Star bids out. And Cheer City give the World All-Star bids out now.
We've got obviously ICC, that's been running like 17 years or something. They are absolutely taking the industry by storm.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing a very good job.
And they give the IASF bids.
Yep, they do.
As well as the new
Nymfinity final bids.
Nymfinity final bids. They've started to give those out as well. And the Summit bids as well. Future Cheer.
Yeah.
Give the IASF bids out and the Summit bids out. And the same for BCA.
Yep.
And Legacy have started to give bids out now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think they give out bids. We don't do many Legacy comps. Not anything against them. We try and keep it quite regional, because obviously these competition EPs are all over the country, and there's so many to choose from. It's actually getting quite. We put it down to a vote now with our coaches where we're going to go, what we're going to do.
Yeah, us too.
And plus, it's obviously they're all on different score sheets, so it doesn't make it easier.
Yeah. Let's get on comparative scoring. My brain can't take that today.
Okay. But that's a different talk for a different day. But I think, there's so many EPs out there. I think it's best to know as a coach and as your team what you're doing, and make sure your parents understand what's expected of them at these EPs as well.
And you've got Jamfest as well, not forgetting, because they give the IASF bids out. And that's going to take us a little bit into controversial corner, isn't it? Because that's why we're talking about the event producers that give bids out, because I think there's a massive confusion now around
what's going on. But we'll get into that in a minute.
But we will get into that.
We're going to go into small talks, big impacts, where we're just going to chat about how we can help you maybe prepare for a competition, how we can impact you guys in that way. So I think the best thing is to be competition ready. Get yourself a competition list, what you need to take. That's including parents, coaches and athletes. Coaches, it's a completely different list to what an athlete may do. Don't forget the iPad with the music on. Let's not forget that.
That's or a coach at the music desk.
Or the coach. The amount of times you hear, can we have a coach at the music desk, please?
I say that quite a lot.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. But I think the best thing, we'll do it from a coach's point. I think the best thing they can do is have the registers, have the tickets, have everything organised in advance. Are you a coach that would you put, when you register your teams, do you like everything being sent to you, or do you like getting to the venue and picking stuff up?
Well, I personally, I like to pick things up at the venue.
I'm exactly the same.
Just in case
you forget them.
I'm having one of them moments and you've got a pile of spectator tickets and you're halfway down the motorway.
I hate sorting
them.
Oh
my God, poor Vanessa, literally after Nationals one time, she'd got all the way home. It was like something like 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and she had to turn back round. I ended up having to get her a hotel room for the night. She had to come home because she drove home with the spectator tickets in the back of the car. And it's just, we're all human. It happens. Do you know what I mean? So I think picking things up from the venue for us, always helps. But a big one for me is what I like to do with my team before the start of a season is to sit down and make some really realistic goals with them. Now, as we know, we have progressional teams as well, don't we? So if let's just say you're a program, you've got 4 or 5 teams, you've got 2 teams, you've got 18 teams, it doesn't matter. What I find when you go into age brackets, you could have a team that last season was absolutely smashing out of the park because they were at the top of the division, the top of the age bracket, and the season after, they're going up an age group. And so it's like, what are our realistic goals? Because last year we was there, and maybe this season we're not going to be quite there because there's a big age gap, isn't there, from an 8-year-old to an 11-year-old when you're going into it, when you come out of a mini division into a youth division.
Yeah.
So a little bit of I'm going to give you some golden advice here again.
What's this got to do with competition, Jane?
I'm sorry. I'll tell you why. It's because what I do at competitions is, we all know we get a score sheet.
Yeah.
So if I've got, with my teams, I do what I call a golden envelope.
Okay.
And in the golden envelope, I will score the team, or the coach will score the team. And when we get to comp, if they have beaten their golden envelope score, because I'll judge them as to where I know the top of that capacity is, if you know what I mean, because we might not have the 4 elite skills in, and we know, and I think that's about you being a good coach and saying, look, we're not there with the skills at the start of the season, but that's not to say we can't progress and get them skills by the end of the season. So let's do the golden envelope. If they beat the golden envelope score, which they get really excited about at the awards, because you know how they can be if you've not won, and there can be disappointment. What's the golden envelope? What's the golden envelope score? And they know they're going to get like a treat when they go back into the gym. Mm-hmm. So I think that's
a really good idea.
I think it takes away that disappointment if you know you've got a team that are going to, maybe that you're in that struggling year, that sort of transitional year of going into that next division. And it helps a lot with competitions.
That's a really good. I was like, where's she going with this? We're talking golden envelopes and scoring. Coaches, what Jane's trying to say is pack your golden envelopes.
Get your envelope. But I think it's right. I think it's going to a competition. It's having that realistic expectation. Looking at your running order before you go out. Yeah. Looking at who you're against and going, okay, guys, these guys are really good. Yeah. All right, they've hitting the scores. They're doing this, they're doing that, and you know you're researching your teams, aren't you? We have a sport, so I think it's just being
realistic,
prepared,
for sure,
and realistic with every team, and the teams that are going for gold, if you like, the ones that you know, it's about mentally preparing. Yeah.
I think that's a good list for coaches to take to comp.
You know,
parents, moving on to parents, what they should expect at competitions and what your list should be. Parents, prepare yourself for ticket prices. All EPs have a ticket price, which is fair. Yeah. It's not as expensive as gymnastics, so don't get carried away. Yeah. But I think you've got to understand that your coaches will provide you with a list of events. I know we do. The ticket prices, we have a standard ticket price in our in-house gym, and then that covers the cost of all EPs. Yeah. So we look at what's the most expensive and stuff like that, and we do it that way around. Right, but I think the best thing they can prepare is I don't know what you do, but we send out a competition newsletter. Yeah. And that prepares the parent for the event. So
I think what's really important with the spectator tickets, which I think from a parent's perspective, they don't always understand this, but especially with the tiny, the mini and the youth teams where they want the spectator tickets, is to make sure if your gym is getting them tickets for you, that you get that deadline in. Yeah. Because the headache is, I missed the deadline. Can you get me more spectator tickets? Yeah. And you feel as though you're being mean, going, well, actually, no, we can't. We actually can't get them now because the event producers close.
Yeah, and the capacity of the venue.
If the capacity is gone, so we always say, look, you know, if they sell out, if you want to go and pay on the door, then
it's a risk you're going to have to take.
It's a risk you're going to have to take.
Yeah. And a lot of EPs are very good for that because they will announce that session 1, session 2 or session 3 has been sold out. Yeah, so.
Absolutely. But I think from a parent's perspective, it's just like I mentioned in the previous episode before, I know it's not like everybody's number one when you've got like other kids and you've got football and you're going over there and you're going over here.
Your bills and all that stuff.
And everything else. I understand that, but it's also, you do not want that disappointment on the day of not getting those tickets. So I think it's really important to just keep your eye on the ball and know that when them spectator tickets are out and they're being sold, because we have deadlines as gyms to work towards. Yeah. That's what we're doing. So I think that's really important.
Main things for parents: meet your deadlines for your tickets. Also prepare for long days, because if you've got multiple kids in multiple teams, long days. Yes. So prepare for a long day. Check if the venue you're allowed to bring lunch in, because some venues don't allow lunches. That's not the EP, so don't go at them. That's the venue that they obviously have the event in. So check if you can take lunch in.
Got me on butties stolen off me.
Jane got a bottle of gin stolen from her. I got a bottle of rum. I got a bottle of rum taken from me. It's all carnage. I'm joking. We're not alcoholics. We just like to have a laugh. But I think just check with the like some EPs, you get your tickets through the actual event. Like I think it's Bournemouth. You do it through there.
You have to do it through them. You have to do it
actual
through
venue.
the Bic Arena, don't you? So it's always different. But I'm sure your program will let you know how you can purchase these things and competition entry fees.
Yeah.
Making sure that like you said, if you want your early bird, and then if that early bird is not hit, then it impacts the other athletes, because then you're going into the next payroll. And I think this is something that maybe some parents might know, but a lot of parents might not understand that there's different categories. And if we miss that deadline, then,
it gets more expensive.
It gets more expensive.
So that's just back to like what we said in the episode. Just know your pack, know your information, know what they expect of you. And then finally, for athletes, don't forget your uniform, pack your hairspray, pack your shoes, get your bag, and that's pretty much it. Water,
and if you
food.
are a senior, don't say my mum forgot to pack it.
Oh my God, imagine. How old are you?
Exactly. You are accountable for your kits.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that because that happened with one of mine, who in America had forgot her kit. And I had to go up and down and try and find this kit. I'm getting transfers on. Honestly, I can't even tell you. It was a nightmare. I missed everything.
I think most clubs out there do like a little don't forget thing. So check with your club what they expect you to take a competition. And that closes Short Talks Big Impact. Now we're going to get into Controversial Corner. Yes. Which is going to be quite a juicy one.
It certainly is. But just before we go on there, can I just say one more for a parent? Is to make sure that your parents committee, if you do have one, the parents are like gold when you're at a competition for hair and having the bags. There's always a mum who's got everything, plasters, first aid kit. So if you've got a parents committee at your gym, we have a parent person. Then they are gold. They are so valuable.
I thought you were going for behaviour then. I was like, parents behave at comp.
Yeah. Oh, well, there is that as well.
That's a whole episode. No offence, parents.
I think that's next week, actually. We're going into parents next week. There's an episode to tune into. That should be great. Controversial Corner. Hold on. But yeah, definitely. I think using your parents to sort of just do the hair.
The camel.
Hair. I can't do hair. I couldn't
Basically,
even do
Jane
Vanessa's.
don't want you to do your hair. Get your parents to do it.
I couldn't do Vanessa's hair.
Poor child.
And honestly, she was like, "Mummy, do my hair." I'm like, "Nope, sorry, can't." There you go.
There's a hat. Go out.
She did her own hair from being about 3, I think.
Right. Controversial Corner. We're going to be talking about dun dun dun. We're going to be talking about bids. Gordon Bennett.
It's Gordon Bennett. Oh, bids. Okay. I might need to breathe on this. And so there is a lot of misunderstanding around bids at the minute. Now, I'm going back in time. We're going in a time machine.
We're going back to the 60s, guys.
We're going back. Do the twist.
Change that. 50s.
So we're going back in time, where the event producers only gave IASF bids out. And these words,
partial paid.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I remember.
Paid. And to get a bid.
Maybe we should explain to parents what at large is and what partial paid is.
Yes, let's do that, because we are here for educational purposes.
So at large is just an invite.
It's the bid where you've got an invitation to go to Worlds in America, Orlando, Disney.
Yeah. And partial paid, the clue's in the name. You get a bit of moolah.
Yeah.
Not a lot though. You can barely fuel your car on it. I'm joking, you can. It is quite a substantial amount, and some EPs are trying to make it bigger for them, which is. Yeah. But that's money towards where I think it's down to the team where they want to spend it. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think so.
But it has
we've
to
never
be spent,
been lucky enough to get a partial pay.
It has to be spent on Worlds. It cannot be spent in any other way. It has to go towards your Worlds fund. So that's IASF.
So
bids.
at large and partial paid,
Partial
because this is the bit where parents, you can always see them, aren't you? They've glazed by this point. They're
What's
like,
the-
what's
what's an at
going
large?
on? What's the bids? What's the bids round? We don't know.
I mean, at large sounds like, oh, they're getting 50 grand, this team. They're going for gold. They're getting 50 grand, but it's not.
It's not. At large is no money.
It's just an
partial
invite.
paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. So back in the day when you only got IASF bids,
Yeah.
there was very few and far between. And
You were competing for it.
Fighting for those bids, and it was
Level 5. Well, it used to be just level 5.
Yeah, it was level 5.
That was that kind of category, that division was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough.
And if you got the bid, like everybody knew who'd got a bid where, because there were so few. Then the summit drifted in. Slowly the summit came in. So the summit is a different competition, isn't it, to IASF?
Still in Orlando, Florida, still held in America, but it's for the lower levels.
Yeah.
So you're talking from 4 below.
Yeah. And dance teams as well.
Yeah, and dance teams.
And there is different rules on those as well. But the summit, again, way back when, there wasn't a lot of bids that were given out.
No.
There was few and far between. So people were fighting for these bids. And this is, I think, where a lot of travel teams started to come in, like going to Barcelona and Amsterdam, where you could sort of win the bids.
Yeah.
I know that some people do the travel teams where they go to the NCA in Dallas, but they don't need to get a bid for that, do they?
No,
but
they just go.
There's so many now that you can go to. But staying with the bids, we had the summit, and then that was like that for quite some time, where it was fierce to get a bid. I think this is the difficulty, isn't it? Because we've got IASF Worlds, which is like what
countries going against countries, pretty much.
Countries going against countries.
I mean, still All-Star Worlds is you're still going against different countries.
Yeah. And then we had then we had the summit, which is just like the week after IASF, and like say it's for the lower level teams, which is great. Then a couple of years ago, All-Star Worlds came in, and this is where I think
the confusion started.
Confusion has started with parents and with people on media, because let's say you're looking for a gym, and one gym down the road has got one IASF bid, and the other gym down the road has got 4 Worlds bids. You're like, well, surely that one with the 4 Worlds All-Star bids is better than the IASF. But to get the IASF bid is a little bit more difficult, so to speak. And so I think having these bids is like bringing light to them. So the World's All-Star is, you get a lot of people travelling out, and it's great that they're getting that experience to go to America. I think it's amazing. Like, I wouldn't wish any team not to go.
What the controversy is, it's controversial, I can't speak. It's crippling smaller teams, because a team like mine, if I've got kids that are like, they aspire to go to America. Everybody wants to compete in America. But then you've got a team up the road that have got, like you said, 4 Worlds bid, 3 All-Star Worlds bid, 2 Summit bids. A parent that's coming into cheering and say, well, they're going to America every year. I'm like, and this team over here, Main All-Stars, tiny, got 5 teams and got no going for them.
And at one time it was seniors. It was juniors and senior teams that went, and now it's going lower and lower to you.
I could not think of anything worse than taking a tiny team to America. That is an early death. I'm getting grey in my beard. I can see it. Or I would.
The difficulty is like when you've got like minis, like it is an expense, and what are they aspiring to? So at one time you was aspiring because you wanted to be on the senior team.
You wanted to be on that world team.
You wanted to be on them. So I think what's difficult, and there's a massive financial impact on that, to actually keep that up year on year is absolutely huge. And I understand, that like
it's a great opportunity. It's a fantastic memory maker.
I don't want to take that away from any of the other bids, or to make one event more prestigious than another. But then we've also got like ICU, this is where the Olympics is going. So this is why we're here to just trying to educate you in what the bids are, and ICU is where we've got Team England, Team England Hip Hop, Team England Cheer.
So that's your country against your country.
Exactly. And this is where, if we do get into the Olympics, I know we've been accepted for the Olympics.
We're still in the talks, and they're still doing
definitely.
all the...
And if you get a chance to go to that, I mean, that is absolutely incredible, because we've had quite a few athletes that have been in Team England hip hop. And the ceremony on that, when they open it and they all come out in the flags, I mean, I was like crying like a baby. I'm like, oh my God.
I've been fortunate to go to IASF Worlds 3 times. Like, I went once as a holiday, second as a reserve, third time I actually competed. So that's another little inside there. Keep at what you love, because first time I went as a holiday, just like kind of, I want to do it. Second time I went as a reserve, didn't make the team. But you know what? Third time I was lucky, I actually got to compete there. So, but it was harder back in the day. Now I could just go to any team and be on it.
And can we say, like, our sport is so underrated.
Yeah.
Like, look how well Team England have done in like every category, and especially we're coming home with gold.
Yeah.
Like, if we was in the Olympics, how many golds do we get? We'd be literally coming home with golds. So if there's anybody out there who is not filming cheer for this sport, you need to, like,
I pitched it to the BBC, I pitched it to ITV, they don't want to know.
We don't just shake pom-poms. And that's another thing. People think that cheer is just where they're shaking the pom-poms. You need to watch a cheer routine, because I can tell you, these guys are athletes.
Machines.
When they're at top of their game, they are machines. It's an incredible, exciting sport, and we couldn't be more proud of Team England. Like, and when the crowd are out there and they're all in red and white, it's electric. Yeah. It's my favourite.
But yeah, that's literally us in Controversial Corner. We talked about the bids there. We can talk for England, me and Jane, obviously. That's why we're going to get loads of episodes out.
Yeah.
And that kind of sums everything up. Words of wisdom.
Keep trying. Like, if you've not made the world's teams and that's what you're aspiring to do, then just keep going for it. Keep trying. Being committed, and choose if you want. If you're with a team and your team is aspiring for that as a collective, that's something that I feel is now a dying commitment. Because at one time your team stayed together, you knew what the dream was, you was going for it together, so collectively, and not going, well, I'm not staying there this season because they haven't got a bid and they have.
Yeah. Would be just keep at it, just keep pushing for what you want to achieve if it's in that bid industry, if you want to go to Worlds. But like Jane said, stick with your team. And that sums up episode 4. So thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to follow us on social media. Yep. You can find us at Cheer Up the Podcast on all social platforms. I won't say them all because I've said them for the past 3 episodes. So if you're not listening, and if you've got anything to say, you can email us. It's on our social platforms as well. And yeah, I've been Theo.
And I've been Jane, and we hope that basically everything we've said today is just speaking from the heart, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if we missed anybody off from the event producers,
get over it. See you then. Bye-bye.